here we are. Real Talk 447, episode 12 already. I'm Jeff Emig. Got my man Ricky Carmichael with us here, coming all the way from Florida. Dude, what's going on? How are you?
Well, I'm good, man. Hey,
you're actually looking at the rundown for once.
How's your time management? Is all I want to know.
We're only 25 minutes late. Hey, don't get me started. You know how I am with California traffic.
What the hell happened, dude?
The word that I have to say about it begins with an F, and then it's asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Like, it was
What
bad.
happened?
I don't know.
What happened?
Hey, carpool lanes, 241, everything was jacked today. No crashes, just too many people going the same direction. I might have picked off a couple people in the 3+ lane too, in the paid lanes, the 91 Express lane. I might have. Yeah. But
somebody actually probably cut you off and you went in there, huh? Because you wouldn't do that on purpose.
Dude. Hey, there's this place by my house where the road narrows and then it opens back up. But a lot of people just stay in the left lane because it's going to narrow back down to one lane. But there's a right lane. And then you get these people, they like to creep over like halfway, like they're going to block you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, they're the one breaking the law. I'm just going down the road. Trying to get here so we can have some real talk, because we had a pretty awesome Monster Energy Supercross race from New Jersey last weekend. I know you like to talk silly season. We got killer listener questions, and as normal, a good story or two always pops up. So I'm ready to jump.
We got a good story, I'm sure, at the end that these people are going to enjoy for sure.
All right, so tell me about Jersey.
Well, it was exciting. First and foremost, the weather they got lucky. The ride, everyone did, even the fans. You know, it rained Thursday, Friday. I think it was supposed to rain Sunday. Obviously, I left. I was wheels up at 6 a.m. I was out of there.
Carmichael style, dude. This guy does not sleep in at all.
You know who's got me beat on that though?
Who?
Is Daniel Blair. Dude, there's been some times where his flights have left at 5 a.m. this year. Seriously.
Yeah, but only like Delta flies that early, right? Or like
no,
Southwest
he flies United.
Oh, well, yeah, but he probably gets home and then goes to a mini bike race with his family. He's like moto dad right now. He can't afford to do that.
Dude. And he always told me, like, my son Evan, his son Evan, he just does it for fun, and it's just he just wants it to be a life experience. And dude, he is full blown all in. It's hilarious. I love teasing him about it.
Oh, dude, he's got like the Supercross futures. Like he's always posting like entry confirmed, all of that. Oh yeah, he's full on.
Yeah.
It's a good life. It's a good life. I will say, like, you know, a lot of times I reflect on like the environment that I'm around with Jagger and his soccer and the people we're around, and I like it. It's different, obviously different than motocross, and then I reflect back on what guys like you and I, the life that we would have, or that we did, you know, have racing motocross and going to these farm tracks and different places. You go on Friday and you don't leave until Sunday night. You know, you got 3-wheelers or mopeds and all your friends, and yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah. So New Jersey was a good time. The racing was fantastic. A lot of drama. We knew that going into the race, you know, with Faulkner's deal, what was going to happen. In my personal opinion, we'll get into this in a little bit. I think he did what he needed to do. He had to at least try. So there was some drama there. And then, of course, the 450 class. You know, Marvin Musquin was still mathematically able to win the championship, and so was Ken Roczen. So 2 of those guys were eliminated. It's a 2-man showdown going into Vegas. It's going to take a miracle. Anything can happen. If I was Cooper Webb, I probably wouldn't be riding at all this week. I'd not taking any necessary risks. I'd be on the boat, wakeboarding.
Well,
and probably no cocktails for him this week. But
yeah, but so think about that week in between when, I mean, he's got 23-point lead.
Yep.
Webb has 23-point lead. And I remember in 97, right, the one time that I was able to lock this title down, I was going into Vegas needing an 8th or better. And that's 8th or better when you're the points leader. Yeah, should be pretty doable, right? I think Webb's worst finish is an 8th, correct?
Yep.
But, you never know when that slip up or that fall, the mechanical, the this, the that can happen. And so it's so important to stay focused and not to think too far ahead. But can you remember, probably the first time is probably the most nerve-wracking, right, after you're worked on number 5.
Yeah.
It was probably a little bit different, but number 5 you had to
number 5 was one of the hardest.
Yeah, number 5 you had to. Yeah, we talked about that last week, but what do you think Webb's going through right now?
Going in, with that, going into the last round with that many points, it's probably less of a pressure situation, and he does have 2 regional championships and an outdoor championship, so he has one. It would be a little bit different if the points was a little bit closer, but 20th is, he could start backwards and accomplish that. So definitely nerve-wracking. I guarantee you the past two races was more nerve-wracking than what it'll be like this weekend, in my opinion. At least that's how it would be for me. But I've been through that before.
Yeah. Did you expect Webb to come out swinging like that in that event?
I did, because I think, well, here's the thing. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. Obviously now I know why. Like I tried to grab him a little bit, make some small talk with him during track walk, but clearly I didn't know that he was sick. So that makes sense why he wasn't very talkative. I wanted to ask him what his mind frame was. Hey, do you want to win? You can wrap this thing up tonight, right? And is your mindset there, or is your mindset just riding defensive and taking it on into Vegas, getting on the box? I was going to ask him that. Didn't get to, but he handled it unbelievably.
Yeah.
He did fantastic. And, dude, he's done what he's done all year. And people want to hate, but they can't hate on the fact that I've pretty much been right about him all year long. He does what champions do. You saw Ryan Dungey, you saw Ryan Villapoto, all multi-time champions. They always seem to put themselves in the right position. Just when you think the cards are stacked against him, boom, he gets a good start and he just rides out there, and everybody else messes up.
Yeah,
you can't blame him for that.
Yeah, he rode really strong, and even battling for the win. Like when Osborne came up, he didn't want to give it up to anyone, and it was so refreshing to see the points leader, a guy he had won 6 main events up till that point. And it's so refreshing to see him ride like that, because in the previous, 5 races or so, that defensive type riding where every week we would start the show and you're like, man, Webb was so far off the pace. He looked like crap in the whoops. And then in the main event, he got a good start. That it looked like that was a type of championship ride, and the only thing that I have to compare it to is in 97, the second to last race. I went into that race going, okay, I got to win this thing. And then it rained, and then my attitude got even better. I'm like, perfect. Yeah. And my head was right. Like, I don't want to go to Vegas. I want to, I need the points now, not next week. And
right.
Yeah, and so that was cool to see him ride. And on the flip side, Muscan obviously had issues in the first turn, and then everything kind of went away from there. But Tomac once again was riding the wheels off that thing. It was really impressive, the pace that he can ride at versus the other top stars.
Yeah, quick stat on Webb. You said we said that the worst position that he's gotten was 8th. Well, he did get 8th at San Diego. Remember when he fell down behind Marvin? Actually, he got 10th straight up at Phoenix. And I found out a little bit of information why he ended up 10th at Phoenix at the Glendale race. Listen to this. So he was coming up through the pack, and then they had the red flag because of Mookie.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, dude, they made an adjustment to his bike during the red flag.
Hey, let's
clearly
tighten up the
they
rebound.
went the wrong way. Yeah.
Oh, and you're saying he went slower.
He was catching up. Yeah. This is my source told me, because obviously I didn't see it. The camera wasn't on him.
Wait, are you allowed to do that?
I don't know. Are you?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah. I hope you just didn't let the cat out of the bag now.
Well, it doesn't matter anyways because it's. I'm sure the time of where when you can protest has passed us by. But anyhow, 10th. So yeah, go ahead, Cooper.
Doc, he gets
Eli
docked
Tomac.
25
I'm sorry.
points. He gets docked 25 points.
Oh,
because you opened your mouth.
Go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What? I think I'm done.
No, are you going to talk about Eli?
Yeah, dude. How fast was he again?
Dude, he was so good, and I definitely think he was slowing up. Do you think he was slowing up the pack, trying to get it all bunched up like he did in Vegas in 17?
Who?
Eli at the beginning of the race.
Nope. I think he wanted to go out and smoke everybody and spank everybody's ass.
Because it seemed like he had everybody jammed up. I'm like, oh, dude, Cooper and Osborne, dude, they're right there. He's not pulling away. And then just like he does what he's been known to do a lot, it just clicks in another gear. And then like in one lap, he was 2 or 3 seconds ahead.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I'm like, where in the hell did this come from?
And it's weird where he makes up time too, because every week I keep watching Webb, and he has completely adopted Ryan Dungey's corner style technique of going and cutting low in and out of the turn, right? And Eli seems to like ride some of those outsides, ride with a little momentum, but man, there's just certain spots. I sometimes I'm like, how is he going so much faster? I mean, the afterburner.
Your question is good as mine, because that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, those guys were all over him, and then just like in one lap, a blink of an eye, the dude is gone. I'm like, oh crap, dude, this is unreal. How he is able to do that is beyond me, but it's a hell of a lot of fun to watch. And then he went down, lost his balance. You know, was getting kind of ruddy through those whoops. You saw that, Jeff, and he just didn't have the balance right. You know, landed in a rut. It grabbed the side knobbies of the tire, pulled him off, and then got back up. He was coming through. I'm like, shit, he's going to come back and win this race. And then, by God, he did it again. And, dude, I was honest with my analysis. And at that level, he made the same mistake twice. And you've made the same mistake twice. I've made the same mistake twice. You just can't do that at this level, and that's certainly what he did.
Yeah, that seems to be the same sort of mental mistake that costs him every year. You know, a couple years ago, at same stadium a couple years ago when he went into MetLife with the points lead, just the main event kind of unraveled on him. I feel like it's kind of generated from the same root cause of whatever is going through his head, and at this level, that mental strength that you have to have, and the confidence and the belief in yourself, and you know, I call it talking to myself, but it's like, you know, it's basically your thoughts, but you're just repeating your thoughts. Hey, I can do this. I'm good enough. Yeah. I'm strong enough. I'm all this. And somewhere along the line, he makes those little mistakes, and he, you know, in his podium interview with Will afterwards, he was just, you know, I think they probably had a monitor there, and he watched it, and he's just laughing, going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that twice." You know.
Yeah.
So you feel for him. I mean, it's not like he wanted to.
Right. Know? Yeah. No, absolutely. And he's a great dude. He's a cool kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's a likable guy. Just a bummer, just with that much speed, and he's been in that situation so many times. And it continues to happen. Yeah. You know,
well, so. I told you, so we were leaving the Throttle Syndicate ride day up at the Reynolds compound up in Bakersfield. So it's like we timed out our day. Okay, we've got it on while we're loading up, got the NBC Sports app going.
Yeah.
Cell service was crap. So then we get on the road. Hey, let's get on the road. Maybe we'll get some better cell service. So then we're coming from the San Joaquin Valley, which is north of LA, up over the Grapevine. So up through the mountains on the 5 freeway, trying to watch the 250 main and the 450 main. And it's all happening. One of the times when Tomac falls, it freezes and buffers. And it's like 2 minutes before. So we've got it Bluetooth to the motor coach. We got it. We're listening to you guys. We got it cranked. We're trying to watch on my phone. And
So
and then it wasn't until we got better cell service that we could catch back up and finish the main event, right? So we were probably like 5 minutes behind on it, but
this
it
was
was a nail biter. I loved it. It was really, really entertaining.
So I had studied the points and I knew the scenarios for Cooper to have a chance to win this title this weekend. Not a lot of people were expecting him to do that. Well, dude, when I saw Marvin Musquin go down in the first corner, and I didn't expect the possibilities of that happening. You know, Cooper winning was very, very slim, but it was well within range. But when Marvin fell in the first turn and I saw him get run over by a couple guys, I'm like, holy shit, dude, this could become real. So I'm like, the whole race situation just changed. And if you're Cooper Webb and you see that happen, you know, like, oh crap, this is serious. Yeah. So then I'm like, all right.
And Tomac started outside the top 5, right?
Yeah, he was pretty close. Yeah, he was right there. Okay. And then when Eli falls down, then I'm looking. I'm like, I'm trying to look. I peek over the top there of the monitors. I'm like, okay, where's 4th and 5th? And let's see, if Cooper won, Eli got 5th. Cooper could lock it up because he would win on the tiebreaker. So
yeah, and Baggett was having a great ride.
Yeah,
Osborne was on fire. Like
Ken was coming.
Yeah, but Tomac went past those guys like they were in reverse. It was like, no way. I mean, they were riding amazing, and then he just went.
Yeah, it's crazy. That track too, dude. It looked like it was so hard to find the flow. You know, it was really tight. When I was walking the track, I'm like, dude, this track just felt really narrow and tight.
Yeah, it produced some good racing though, and I mean the Dirtworks crew and everybody from Feld. The fact that the process that they have for fighting off the rain and getting to race day, getting to the main events this year. I know San Diego was a quagmire, but man, they've done a pretty good job because, I mean, at least since we started Real Talk, I've been like, oh, gonna rain, bring your umbrella. And then on Saturday, it may rain a bunch or whatever going up to that, but they get it figured out. And that's why, I think Feld is not, they don't consider heading to the Northeast or open stadiums and things like that. I don't think they fear the dates like, oh, we have to put it, as deep into April as we can. Hell, it rains in San Diego in January, and it's like the nicest climate of any place in the country. So, I don't know. I just think that it's awesome what they do, and the crowd looked pretty good too. Looked like it was a pretty good pit party and all that. Awesome. So
yeah, it was good. I want to know your thought. Chase Sexton's getting beat up a little bit. That was a great ride by Chase Sexton. That was his first Supercross win. Congratulations to him. I want to know your thought. Do you think that Austin crossed the line, riding aggressive towards Chase there at the beginning of the main event?
I don't think that he crossed the line. I think that Sexton's being a little sensitive. I think that he has to expect that. Like, he should have already expected that that's how it was going to be. And I do think that it showed, to me, it really revealed itself within the first half a lap that Forkner was like, shit, I'm not ready to take this thing a full 15 laps. Like, I need him to be out of the picture, right? So I think that Forkner is very threatened by Sexton. And then in turn, if you backtrack to the injury and then, it appeared that when he jumped across the start straight there and jammed his leg a little bit, that it was that sort of over aggressiveness right there that kind of, lit up his knee again. And I mean, it's unfortunate for him, but yeah, I mean, whether it's Austin or whether it's Chase, they both are fantastic riders, both deserving. They both are, immature in certain ways. They haven't grown like what we would see our 450 guys do. I mean, they're teenagers essentially, right? So you expect that to happen. I think it makes it interesting. I don't fault them for it. I mean, I did plenty of stupid shit when I was younger, when I was at that age. So
Yeah, totally.
you know, I mean, we both did.
Uh,
So, you know, would I have done what Faulkner did? Hell yeah, I probably would have gone deeper. I mean, I grew up in the early '90s racing Supercross. It was dirty then. That was nothing compared to back then.
and
right?
it most certainly wasn't for the championship either, right?
Well, and then if I was Sexton, I would have said the same thing. Like, hey, what's that guy doing? You have to expect it from both guys. So he's taking some heat for it, and maybe he'll grow, or maybe he'll choose his words differently. Maybe Faulkner will be like, hey, you know, I didn't need to ride like that, and or maybe they both just say screw it. You know, I mean, these kids been racing against each other. These athletes have been racing against each other since they were kids in the Midwest. I mean, they're probably, I don't know, they're about the same age, so you'd think they probably have raced against each other when they were 8 years old. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I echo what you say. You know, I know that, you know, Sexton was a little upset about it. However, he's got to understand that it was for the championship. Yes, it was early in the race, but you know, Austin, you know, he was desperate. He had to do what he had to do. Chase handled it well, though. I was really impressed with his composure while all that was going down, and he could see that Austin was going for it, but he never wavered. You know, he didn't try to ride too hard, didn't ride over his limit. He dropped back maybe a second and a half, and just kind of stayed there. He didn't force the issue and just really waited. I think he was waiting for exactly what happened to Austin happen, and it did. And you know, it's just.
Hey. You gotta give it to him, though.
Oh,
No, hold on. My guys at Shift with his New York Jets shift gear, the green and white, and then he had the new Fox V3 helmet on that was all white.
Yeah. Oh, dude. So we're gonna poke. I'm gonna poke some fun at our boy Ralph Shaheen, but he was trying to make one of the bosses were there, and they loved the Jets, and he was all of a sudden now Ralph's a Jets fan. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that because I thought he only went 49ers and Panthers. So now he's got a third NFL team that he supports?
Yeah, he's got a third NFL team. He's like, oh, look at Chase Sexton. I think this was in the time qualifying practice there when we were rehearsing, call that last practice. And he's like, yeah, look at the gear. The Jets, Jets, Jets. And then later I find out it was one of the boss's favorite teams.
Yeah. Well, he'd be the guy if you're going to go play roulette. Like if you're going to go to a casino and play roulette, Ralph would be the guy that is like he puts a token on he puts a chip. I mean, he would cover his. He's got he's got two baseball teams because he claims Bay Area and NorCal, right? So, but then he lives in Charlotte, so he's always got like, oh no, I got the A's and the Giants. It's like, well, whoever's doing best that year. Well, you know what? We're bringing Ralph on to wrap this thing up next week, so maybe we need to hit him up about that because you know he's going to bring the heat with both of us. He's already told me, he's like, okay, open mic, okay, get ready.
Yeah, I was hoping, but yeah, I wanted to give you that little nugget for next week, and I kind of felt bad because our producer, you know, he's a Dolphins fan, and you know the history.
Right. Oh yeah, Bondo likes it.
Just no respect for Bondo whatsoever, bro. Right?
Oh man. Well. Hey,
that's
the Supercross Research Department. We're not going to bore you like we did last week with reading all this, but Ricky, tell them what Webb's win percentage is, or chances of winning this championship.
Yeah. So basically, if he starts the main event and nothing happens to him, he has a 99.5% chance to win the championship.
And on the flip side, Tomac is less than 0.5%.
Yeah, 0.454%.
So you're saying there's a chance. No, but that's the crazy thing, isn't it? Right? So for Tomac to still win this title, there is a chance. It is a very, very slim chance. Webb would have to not make the main, and Tomac would have to win the main. Right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
One other thing that the research department came up with for us here is kind of interesting. So again, we will have this coming weekend 3 first-time championship winners. I mean, it's a fact. The first time this happened was '85 with Jeff Ward and the big bikes, and then Bobby Moore and Eddie Warren in 125. So that was the first year of the 125 divisions. Next year, once again, there were new winners. Rick Johnson won the big bike class. The late Donnie Schmidt and Keith Turpin won the 125s. Then it didn't happen again until Jean-Michel Bale in 91 with McGrath and Brian Swink. 93 it happened again. So McGrath won the big bike class, 450s. Gaddis and Doug Henry. James Stewart, Villapoto, and Townley in 07. But the last time that this has happened was 2011 with Villapoto, Tickle, and Barsha. So, it's the 250 classes are still close enough to where that there's a little meat on the bone. There's still some work to be done.
It's not a chip shot, that's for sure.
No, because Ferrandis is only 8 points behind Cianciarulo, and Ferrandis is hot. 8 points it doesn't take much when you mix the East and the West together for a rider to slip to a 5th or 6th or 7th, and the other guy wins. So,
yeah, that's where you can really use the showdown to your advantage. Also, it could be to your disadvantage, but you got to go into, if you're Dylan Ferrandis and you're Justin Cooper, you got to go in to this weekend's race surely thinking that it's going to be an advantage for you. You have to go into that race with that mindset. So it's going to be fun to watch. That's for sure. It's exciting. I always love watching the 250 class, especially these showdown races. Just there's so much excitement. It's a lot like the Triple Crown to me. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, and Ferrandis, I think, is a guy that can really finish this thing up good. Now, I feel like his teammate Justin Cooper, that's riding the East, I feel like last week really defeated him. I would be surprised if you see him go out and ride to anything better than a 3rd or 4th. I just feel like he kind of last week it seems like it took the wind out of his sails, but he still has a mathematical chance too. So hey, so the research department. Season. No, the research department.
Oh, you still in the research?
Yeah, go for it. I can't even read this thing.
What were you on?
I'm gonna have to put my glasses on.
Well, let's see. We all know Martin Davalos had his 100th career start last week. That's in the lights class.
Yeah, but we got to give some credit here to that's second behind all time Barry Karsten, who made 118 starts between 1986 and 2003. 86,
dude.
So he raced the 125 class the second year that it was in existence. 1986. We just said the first year was 85.
Holy cow.
And then he raced his last one in 2003. And that guy still rides and races. You see him at Loretta's. Like, Barry's such a rad dude. I mean, that guy has, I don't know how many gate drops if you added up locals and Rizzo. Oh, yeah, more than anybody I know. So, and he had one podium. Yeah. So, well,
silly season.
Congratulations to Davalos on his 100th start, and kind of right on his heels there is Kyle Cunningham. He made his 91st 250 start this last week too, so we can't count him out for the all-time record in the 250 class.
Yeah. Silly season, Fro.
What do you know? Tell me what you know.
Dude, I don't know anything. You hear so much.
You're TV now. Nobody talks to you. When you're a team owner, everybody wanted to ride. All the agents want to talk to you. And when you were Ricky Carmichael, they wanted to bro out with you about, hey, where should I go? Hey, man, can you throw a word in for me with this guy or that guy? Now your TV is I can't do a cricket sound. Do we have a cricket sound we could throw in there, Miguel?
Add it in there.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. All right.
Right.
They stop talking to you. Nobody does.
I feel like once Adam Cianciarulo signs, he's the kingpin. So I personally think he's going to end up at Honda some way, somehow. I think that's what my opinion is.
Okay, let me throw this at you. if Kawasaki was able to bring Cianciarulo through to the 450 class this year, would Savachi automatically get that spot at Honda, or does he get left out a little bit?
Well,
because that's
one would assume that he would just transfer over to factory Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but don't forget Marvin Musquin is up also.
Marvin's not going anywhere.
No, and the reason I don't think Marvin goes anywhere, because just think about if he leaves, Jeff. If he leaves KTM, he leaves the Baker factory. He's going to have to find a new place to ride, which that's easy to do now. So many people have private facilities that are open for anyone to come ride.
Yeah.
And then it's just a lot changes, you know. He's going to be left. He's going to have to find a off the bike trainer. I know David Vielman is his riding coach. But at the same time, that just the whole facade of it changes. It's such a massive change that I don't see him. I personally don't see him switching.
Anybody else coming up right now? McElrath or anybody?
I think McElrath. Well, he's not going to point out, so I'm assuming he's going to stay at the Red Bull Choi Lee KTM team. Jordan Smith's probably going to stay put.
Well, we've talked about this before about advancing up. Like, man, I know that there's a right time to do it, but I mean, both you and I, I pointed out early. The rules totally worked again.
The story, like, tell our listeners a story. Wasn't there's a chance you could have pointed out like after your first year, right?
My first year. Okay, so, and keep in mind, some of my facts are probably a little bit off. You can check it through the vault on Racer X and whatnot.
Well,
so
you are old, so
yeah.
That's
so so in my time in the late '80s, to race professional Supercross and motocross, you had what they called an expert license. So your veteran riders would have an expert license. If you rode 125 Supercross, you had what was called a Pro-Am license. Okay, so all riders like us that rode 125 Supercross, we had a Pro-Am license. You were allowed 80 points that never, it was a career 80, not for the year, okay? If you were first in 125 Supercross, you would get 5 points. Second was 4, blah, 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 on down. So there were 5 points available if you won the race. But if you did a little moonlighting and rode the premier class 250/450 on the opposite coast, and you made the main event, and you were the top Pro-Am licensed rider, whether you were first or 18th or whatever, you would get 5 points that accrued. Also, because you had a Pro-Am license, when we rode 125 motocross, each moto, if you were the top placing rider with a Pro-Am license, you got 5 points. So you could go to a pro motocross and get a 8th and a 9th. If you were the top Pro-Am licensed rider, you'd get 10 points that weekend that went against your 80. You got points in 125 Supercross, 250 Supercross, each moto in motocross, and you were only allowed 80. So I rode the first Supercross in 89, and I think I rode one or something at the end of the season. I rode a couple of motocross events that season, so I gained some points in that. But I was still full amateur that year. It was a true Pro-Am, right?
Yeah.
And then my first full season was 1990. Well, I went to the final motocross of the year, was at Unadilla, and I had a deal with Yamaha. On Friday before Unadilla, Keith McCarty calls and says, "Hey, are you sure about your advancement points?" It's like, yes, we talked to the AMA. They said your advancement points are this. He says, no, your advancement points are like, you have like 76.
Right.
There's a chance that if you ride the final national this year that you could point out, and then our deal is off. I literally went home Friday night and skipped the last national of my first full year because I would have pointed out. So basically, I mean, I only rode Supercross in 89 and 90. Well, to point out, now I did get, essentially I rode 2 years. I rode 90 and 91. But I pointed out of 125 Supercross in my second full year, 2 races in. Right? And for sure, I look back on my own career, and you've said the same thing about yours, is, man, I really wish I had had one more year in that class. I really needed one more year. It's like Trey Kennard when he won the East Coast, I think it was, in his first year or first full year, something like that, and he got thrown to the wolves. He wasn't quite ready. He could have used another year to mature, and especially for me, because I just feel like I definitely needed more time in that class. And I look at it, right, and so then Jeremy and I were fairly closely matched. Right, motocross, I had the edge on him. Supercross, he had the edge on me. So in '92, he completely blows up 125 West, really gains his confidence, which this is what this sport is really about. I have to ride 250 before I'm ready, and my confidence gets shot. So, to me, that was by pointing out at that, like I did, it was a real detriment to my Supercross riding. When I really needed more time to develop.
Well, that happened to Will Hahn and Bogle too, I believe, right? They, in my personal opinion, they needed another year of that feeling of winning, like you're explaining. Yeah. They needed another year to build their confidence, and they were just a victim of circumstance. So it definitely needs to be tweaked. We've talked about it before.
Yeah, I do not like the rule. Yeah.
What's that? Finding the right answer is going to be hard.
Well,
I mean,
and
you and I have talked about it.
Well, and it's like in Europe, in the Grand Prix circuit, when they had the age limit, and it's like, well, what if you're John Dowd, and like he didn't even ride Supercross, I believe, until he was around 27.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to ride the entry level class, even though he needed to by just his age. So that's kind of not the answer. The point system seems to be massaged every couple years to fit certain guys like Davalos and Cunningham, who have been in there for, I mean, both of them have 91 or more starts. And that seems like you could argue that that's not quite fair for other riders coming through.
Yeah, maybe there needs to be something like a finishing rate, like, hey, if you finished 24, 25 X amount of races in the 250 class, then you got to get out of there. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. It's hard. It's a moving target, but definitely needs to be an active, something that we are all active on and trying to find the right thing, because there's young guys coming up that might not get an opportunity at a good ride because guys are kind of using the points rule to their advantage, and they've learned how to ride that wave and have it figured out, and they're taking an opportunity away from a younger guy coming up, maybe.
Well, and I also think that it's on the team owners a bit too, because if you think about it, remember the stats are that typically a 250 rider, his best year is his third year. Now you'll have a guy, like yourself or James or Chad Reed or somebody that's ends up becoming a multi-time champion that you see, okay, they've had this record of excellence for a long time. But it makes me wonder, why would Mitch Payton hire Martin Davalos? He's been on the team now 3 years, maybe? Something like that? 2
No, 3 times. Twice for sure. I don't know how many years, but he was on there. Then he went to Red Bull, he went to Husqvarna, Rockstar Husky, remember? And then last year, he went back to PC.
Okay, but the last 2 years, so it's like, why not bet on the younger guy that's going to have his third year? If Faulkner, this was his third year. So, interesting. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I wish that that there was a collective of riders that help govern their sport, because as a former rider, I think, look, my ass is the one that's out there on the seat, you know, it's like we should have a say in this more than what we do. And I don't feel like, I mean, you and I have both been through this. We've been in this sport our whole lives, and I don't know if our voice, our opinion, or our experience ever gets calculated. Then you have, you know, for lack of a better word, like bureaucrats and promoters and all this, like governing it. And I've never felt, even being on the TV side and watching things, you know, even when Kevin Windham and certain guys had kind of been a part of the sport to really help sort of govern and be liaison between riders and that, I feel like that the athletes are definitely treated like, you know, employees that just don't have a say. And I would differ to say that the athletes are the ones they're the gladiators in the arena. And if you say, okay, we've got this issue, you are the riders, you tell us how you guys want to govern yourself. Rough riding, you know, clean it up. Hey, if the riders want to ride rough, great. It's entertaining as hell. Fans love it. Not somebody from the FIM or the AMA going, hey, this looks bad, and so we don't want you guys to do that. It's not their call. It's the riders. They're the ones that are on the track. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, and I think too, with like, you know, we could talk forever about this stuff that's going on with the FIM and WADA, and I mean, you read that latest Racer X article with Brock Tickle, how long this whole suspension and all of his thing is taken. It's insane. Like, he's just taking away his career. And the article was great to point out that last season, I should have brought it with me. Who was the Super Bowl MVP? Was it Edelman? Well, anyway,
was it Gronk?
No. So a Patriot, I forget the article. Like I said, I'm getting old. So he serves a suspension for PEDs, misses some games.
Yeah, it was Edelman.
Later on in the season, he's the Super Bowl MVP. Brock Tickle, who doesn't make Edelman money, he's still got a mortgage and a wife and a life to take care of. FIM's just leaving him hanging, dude. Like, when's this going to wait? Like, why was that not taken care of within a couple months? It's been a year. And
it's been crickets.
Crickets. Total joke. And that's the point. Like, that's where, as an athlete, the riders need to have more say-so in this. It's just the governing body have completely hosed him on that. You know? I don't know. I feel like that there's, this is a really interesting case. And I think that he's, by reading the article, he's just completely helpless.
Yeah, he can't do anything, dude. He can't get answers, and they're just dragging him along. And dude, they've totally just almost have screwed any opportunity that he could have gotten from this.
Yeah, and read the article, because it actually, you know, points to some criticism or even conspiracy theory within the FIM and how some things were handled by you know, some of their leaders. The article is really good. It's in the latest Racer X. I forget who wrote the article, but good job. It was really insightful, and it's just like, man, I felt so, you know, man, come on. He had a little bit of something, stimulant or whatever it was. Dude, it ain't worth a year of your career. It's a 2-race ban, something like that. I mean, think about Edelman and these guys. How many major league ball players? I mean, I have friends that in the major leagues that had gotten in trouble for PEDs, accepted the guilt. Okay, let's go on. I pay my fine, my time, whatever it is. Boom, they go on. They continue to earn. They got the penalty. Tickle's he's still hanging. Dude, he has to be careful about how he even makes money trying to ride and train and coach and all this stuff, because the FIM
they got to give him an answer. So, like, dude, are you guys going to reinstate me? If not, you've got to let me go earn some cheddar.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just anyway. We feel for you, Brock. I hope we
dude.
Hope we get
He's
him.
such a great guy. We never had an issue with him, not one time at RCH. Dude, one of the most dependable riders you could ever have. If you needed him to do something, he was there. Hey, will you go to this appearance? You know, they're really asking you. I know it was last minute. Yeah, no problem. All the team personnel loved working with the guy. He was a fantastic teammate to all of the riders that we had at RCH. And, dude, it's just like he's a dream employee. Yeah. He is just so good. He works hard.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. The team owners and your employees. That you're just like the promoters, dude. He's just one of your employees.
Well, actually, he's an independent contractor. Sorry, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he was every rider that a team could really want from a reliability standpoint. You know, as far as testing goes, he's just a team player. He represented himself well, pardon me. And
the penalty does not fit this crime.
No.
Hey, did I send you that podcast thing with Lance Armstrong when he had the guy on talking about PEDs? And this guy had all this science, and it was really interesting about how, you know, one thing that has to be taken into account with you know, sport and athletics and in terms of PEDs and all that is somebody's genetic makeup, right? There's like they laid out this thing like, okay, so there was this certain threshold. Well, let's say that my body tends to get rid of lactic acid better than your body. So I forget what the number was, but I'm just going to say 35 because I think it's whatever the number, the way of rating it was. So I'm at a 27. But the kind of max is a 35. Well, you're at a 22 genetically, okay? So I take PEDs. I started at 27. I end up at a 35. You could take PEDs, started at 22, and end up at 35. So there was almost an argument that it doesn't necessarily – well, it helps one person more than the other. It was a really complex conversation. Wow. Look, I'll send you the link afterwards, and I'll put it on the post for this for you people that are listening in and on the YouTube video. But it's pretty interesting. But in regards to tickle and even dating back to Stewart and stuff, like the penalties are I think they're way too severe. That's just.
Yeah.
All right, we got 12 minutes left, brother. Listener questions, get after it.
Tell me it. Okay.
Or you got anything else you want to say on that?
No. Well, I wanted to talk silly season, but that went up the opposite way. So, but it was good. That what we talked about, Brock, needed to be said. All right, listener question. Sangus we2 _ for life on Twitter. So Chase Sexton said Austin Faulkner tried to take him out. Didn't look that way to me. What's your opinion on that? Seems like Chase is reaching on that one. We already covered that. We appreciate the question. Dude, Austin had to do what he had to do. It's for the championship. Listen, I don't condone in that kind of riding. Only at certain times do I think you can get away with it, and there's a time and a place for it. This is for the title. Given Austin's situation, he had to do what he had to do. Jeff explained it perfectly. Yes, Chase was reaching a little bit, but Chase is, in my opinion, this is where Chase had to look at it from Austin's side and also be aware that you knew that Austin was going to pull something like that. I mean, he had to. It was his only defense. So, he was reaching on it for sure. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Next one.
All right. So Tanner Rand's 13 on Twitter. We just covered that. His question was, what's your take on WADA and the FIM, rules, bans? JS7, Brock Tickle, do you think they should be a part of American Supercross and Motocross? So this kind of, if we put a button on that long-winded conversation that we had about that, do you think that they should be a part of the governing of our sport, essentially?
We definitely need some kind of anti-doping association. You know, we need a good testing policy, a testing policy that is tried and true that other major sports use and have never had any problems in the past.
Well, the argument
is it WADA or FIM? Well, I mean, obviously USADA would be ideal, but correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, because of the FIM sanctioning and their relationship with Feld, kind of have to be, right?
Yeah. So Supercross is their agency that they use is WADA, World Anti-Doping Association, and MX, if I am correct, uses USADA because Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship is an American AMA sanctioned event, not sanctioned by FIM.
Yeah.
Correct? So.
Yeah, well, not AMA. They're not AMA anymore, are they?
Oh, okay. Well, so I think that they use USADA. I'd have to look into that. But I think the reason, sort of the moral dilemma with this is protecting an athlete from himself, right?
Yeah.
You saw what happened with Pantani, who is a legendary cyclist. Was probably back in the 90s when they started finding out they could pump all this stuff into their systems, and they just that old machine would keep on rolling. And if I remember correctly, he had a heart attack, maybe something like that. You know, I mean, you can see it with bodybuilders that are just juicing like crazy. You know, that can be really, really bad for your health. And so I think that there's kind of somewhere along the line, you have to stop the athlete from themselves. You need, even if they're like, hey man, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And, you know, then it gets into, hey, is this sort of behavior good for kids to see? And then would kids want to start juicing? And it's a very, very complex subject. So yes, there needs to be some governing. All right. You want me to take the next one?
I'll take the next one. We'll go back and forth. All right. This is from Carmen 602 on Twitter. I remember a rule back in the day where a points leader could opt out of qualifying for one race. I remember Kevin Windham once using it. Did I dream that up? And if not, why wouldn't Austin Faulkner use that option? Is the provisional gone? Yes, the provisional is gone. If the provisional was still there, I don't know if Austin would have used it or not. If I was advising him, I probably would have told him, yeah, you should probably use that. Actually, I think I'm not sure as far as a champion goes, but I believe didn't Michael Byrne use the provisional one time? Maybe one of the Anaheims or somewhere.
There was a year when I was doing broadcasting, so it was in the last 13 seasons within there, and didn't Villapoto, when he had that problem in the last chance qualifier?
Oh, was it
at Tampa? No, Jacksonville.
No, you're thinking of Jacksonville, but
that was the same night you said, hey.
He didn't use it, did he?
That was the same night you slipped up on air and said, hey, he went right over the fucking tough block.
No, I didn't say that. I had a good friend says that he's texting me. He's like, dude, you just said the F word. I said, I did not. He's like, yeah, you did. He said he jumped right over the bleeping tough block.
You can't even say it on Real Talk.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to keep it clean.
I've let it slip once in a while, but.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, I mean.
No, the provisional, yeah, you can't use it. It's gone. It's not there anymore. I would have used it, you know, based on what, you know, how my ACL was, my torn ACL. I would have, the least amount of time that I could have been on the track would have been my option.
Yeah. Well, didn't work out for Faulkner. He certainly could have used something right then. They'd throw away a main event, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Back up. AMA is still tied to the outdoors. I know you were correct when you said that, by the way. All right. What's the next one, bro?
Dude, I got to wear my glasses. I can't even see. It's so much better right now. This is crazy. Man, I'm putting on weight. Eyes. I can't see anymore. I'm just like Arne these days.
Oh, dude, that ain't right. Go ahead. It's Where. Go ahead.
Okay. Where_Suzuki43 on Twitter. What made you choose the numbers that you raced under? And if you could have chosen a different number, what would it have been? So the first year that our sport had permanent numbers was 2000. So before that, your number that you had for each year could change. If you were a champion from the previous year, you could run a number one in that championship. If you didn't have the championship in the motocross or supercross, whatever the opposite was, then it was your numbers were awarded with the rider with the most amount of combined points for Premier Class Supercross 125 motocross, 250 motocross, and back in the days, 500 motocross. If I remember correctly, 250 motocross did not count. 250 supercross, sorry, did not count towards your number, towards your yearly number. So, take for instance, man, I won the motocross championship 125 in 92. So in 93, I was number 6 and number 1 in 125 motocross, right? So, and then in 2000, we went to a permanent numbered system, and I chose number 3. I never raced with it, and you chose number 4.
Yep. How I chose my number was the first race that I ever went to. I didn't have a number picked out. It was 1985. They said, "What number do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be number 4, like my uncle." My uncle used to race cars, and so it was number 4. Raced number 4 for several years until the first amateur national that I went to in 1987 would have been Ponca City. Jeff, you've raced there many a times. Went there. They wouldn't let me use number 4. They gave me 167. So then I raced 167 all through my amateur career from 1987 until I turned pro. At the end of 96, I raced Steel City. But my first season number as a professional was number 70, and Jeff explained how I got that. When they went to the permanent numbers, that's when I chose to go back to number 4. There's just so much history there. It was the first number that I ever had. No one had taken it, so that's how I ended it. That's how I ended up with number 4, man.
That first race that you had, was that when you were still on the Tri-Zinger, or were you actually on the 2?
No, that was on a blue Tri-Zinger, dude.
Was that the Tri-Zinger
80? You need to edit a picture. It's a blue one, the blue Yamaha Tri-Zinger.
But was it a 50 or was it a 80?
I thought
blue and yellow.
The 90s.
Oh, we're gonna find that picture. That it's almost black and white, but there's one like out there floating around.
The suspension the tires were used as suspension.
Your first race was actually on a 3-wheeler. Hey, 3-wheeler, it's a good feeling.
Dude, did you ever race a 3-wheeler, dude?
Well, back in the early 80s, my dad being a fabricator and everything, he started doing these conversions for a bunch of people where they would take, let's say, like a YZ80, and he would make the triple clamps. So he'd make triple clamps to put a wider front wheel on it, and then he would build the swing arm from scratch and put and make it into a 3-wheeler, and then they would retrofit like the fenders. But it would take a YZ80. I remember there was a guy out of Oklahoma City that my dad built a couple of those for, and he would take some big bikes or 80s or 125s and stuff. So he made like custom ones. I don't know if I actually ever raced it, but I rode those things. But my favorite, we had the ATC 70s. We had 2 of them when I was a kid, me and my brother. Oh, man.
Right.
When it snowed, oh, baby, those things were so much fun. I'd love to have one of those again. Yep.
Well, that was it.
Good times, brother. Good times.
Always.
Well, speaking of time, we're out of time for this episode. But we've got one last.
Where does the time go?
I don't know. That's just what we do. We just ramble on. Hey, we had one last listener question. It's not really a question; it's a statement. So we want to thank him. Why don't you read that last one?
Yeah, it says, this is from Motocross Race 10 on Twitter, and best show on YouTube. Appreciate that, man. Yeah. You know what? We're doing it. We're doing it our way, and we hope people enjoy it. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to listen to you guys, the positive vibes and the questions you guys have, and just try to bring you some fun stuff, fun stories, and slowly work our way up the ladder. It's something that we do for fun. We enjoy doing it. And, yeah, man, thanks for everybody for listening.
Yeah, so you can send your questions at Talk447 on Twitter. Of course, you can find us on social media. Unfortunately, before we go, I just want to mention our good friend Sonny Garcia. He's going through some challenges in life. Had a pretty rough day this last day, so we wish him the best. Everybody kind of knows what's going on there, but I love you, brother, and hope he can pull through this stuff. So that's it for Real Talk 447, this episode 12. Ricky, it's been a pleasure. We got one
next
more
week it's going to be fun. We're going to give Ralph Shaheen a bunch of shit next weekend or next week.
Yeah,
everyone, you guys are going to love it.
Send your comments.
Yeah,
your good
please
comments,
do
your
it.
funny stories. Anybody that knows Ralph Shaheen, send.
Is he going to light the candles this weekend
He's
in
going to
Vegas?
light the candles in Orange County. on Real
Listen to
Talk.
the engines rev for the final time.
Well, you guys just had the penultimate round of Supercross, right?
Yeah, then everyone jumped on. Then Will was saying it, and the penultimate.
See, I wouldn't use it. That was Ralph's deal. Well, we're gonna have him on. Oh, Ralphie's always fun, and we'll just wrap it up after Supercross in Vegas next weekend. So I believe we're gonna be a day later than normal. So everybody bear with us. But yeah, send us your questions, comments, all that, and we'll do one more to wrap up Supercross.
Yes.
You ready? All right.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's light it up, Miguel, the Andrew McKeague Band, and This Old Lie. Thanks, everybody.
Living in the now. How will it really last? Who cares anyhow? 15 minutes later, in a room without a view, waiting on your savior, but he ain't coming through. You go back for trouble, stay for pain and strife. We are going our own way, living this old life.
Thanks, everybody.